Jennifer, I want to talk about your post here. So I want to talk about your writing first. And in this set of critiques, I do look at the writing first, since we are required to talk about our experience with the assignment. So I think this is really good stuff. A lot of times I learn just as much reading a student's writing based on their experience with this with an assignment as I do from looking at the assignment. And this happens to be no exception here. I want to talk about this. So using a background image is not possible, as there are palm trees and umbrellas to account for strange points. That's a good point, and I think using the water is a great solution. The thing I want to address here is the fact that in the learning process, you are now able to take a look at a project like this and say, hey, that image isn't going to work, or hey, that image is going to work beautifully because I need to place text here, here, and possibly here, right? These are things this is knowledge you didn't have a few short weeks ago. So we are definitely learning, and that's fantastic. I love it. I think that using the image of the water is a great solution. A lot of times students find incompatibility from the magazine ad to the banner ad, so they kind of shift gears and go in a completely different direction, which reduces the harmony associated with the campaign, thereby reducing the adaptation of the banner from the magazine ad, and kind of creates a kind of a negative, not a negative, but not the most advantageous situation to be in terms of a harmonious, consistent advertising campaign. I love your work. I think it's fantastic. I'm going to give you a couple of ideas, and I'm going to make some comments. I'm going to give you some kind of obscure design principles I think are really going to help. Let me see where we're at. Passing the background. Yes, of course. All of this stuff are things that you're going to experiment with as a designer. Let me give you my comments here. Okay, I think these are really going to make some good sense to you. So let's start with the magazine ad. Gorgeous. Very, very, very inviting. You know the rule of thirds, right? The rule of thirds indicates that if you take any composition and you draw two lines, horizontal lines and two vertical lines, bisecting horizontal and vertical planes into three equal areas, where the intersections are and where those lines are 1/3 of the way across are considered to be the most interesting areas in the composition. Now, we can't hit one of the intersections because the intersection would be right around here somewhere, but we can follow that line down and move this over. Right now, this is dead center. It's not committed. It's not forcing the viewer to make a commitment of whether to look at this or not. It's just kind of dead center. If we move this over right here, the viewer is going to go right to it because it's in a sweet spot, so to speak, in an ad. Now, the other thing is I think this might be just a little bit too big. And the reason I say this is it's garnering a little too much visual weight. And I think that this is not going to end up being the focal point. I think the background image should be the focal point. So we want to avoid the viewer being drawn directly to the float. The float should be a secondary image, right? So let's reduce the size of the float. Let's move it over to the side right around here or so. Okay. I'm going to make another recommendation in a second, but that is other than that, this is an absolutely gorgeous ad. Now let's jump to the banner. The banner is equally as effective. Very nice work. Now let me give you another another design principle. This one is very, very obscure. But theoretically, things that belong in the sky should not be placed on the lower half of any composition. So in other words, an airplane, you wouldn't, unless the airplane was parked, an airplane with its wheels down, you wouldn't place it at the bottom of a composition. Conversely, a car, you wouldn't place a car at the top of a composition. An airplane, if the airplane's wheels are down, sure, it's on the ground, it could be placed down here. You see what I'm saying? So like a balloon, for example, a helium balloon, you wouldn't want to put a helium balloon towards the bottom of a composition unless it's with a bunch of balloons where it's grounded on something. But just a singular helium balloon, you don't want to put it at the bottom because it insinuates floating, so you would want to put it at the top. Now, follow me. So basically the rule is this: if something belongs above the horizon line, then keep it at the top of the composition. If something belongs below a horizon line, then keep it lower. This theoretically is a float, meaning it would be in a pool, meaning that the pool is below the horizon line, meaning this should be brought down to the lower portion of the composition. And we can do that very, 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 very easily. All we have to do is move it down a little bit. It's going to cause us to have to move this type over, but that's okay. So let's move this down again. I think it might be a little bit too weighty. Let's reduce the size a little bit. Watch my cursor. Let's place this guy right about here. Okay. Then you can come down the line right here. Almost paradise. Left align. Take this, move it right over it. Left align it. And then I think this type is too large. I would reduce that size. You can either keep it on one line, or you can condense it to one line or keep it at two. I think it would be probably a little bit more effective if we're condensed to one line. So we follow your left margin, left align it, 20% off, 7-day package. 20% off a 7-day package. Animate that just like that animation. It's beautiful. Good. It's perfect. Well, actually, no, it never disappears. So that's great. Good job. Then my final recommendation is this logo is a little difficult to see and to read because of the highly textured background. I think in this case, the purple background logo might be your answer. Now, follow me on this one, because this is where it gets fun and super interesting. If you decide to use the purple logo, what you can do is go back to your original image and do a color adjustment layer, hue saturation, hint, hint, and change the color of this float to the color of the purple in the logo. And that is going to create some harmony. So try it. And then you can, if it works out great, which I know it will, then go back over here and do the same thing here. And wow, this is going to be spectacular. It already is spectacular. So all we can do from here are make improvements, right? But say Thomas UFE, I would not place that right there. I would say I would maybe move it somewhere else, but it's too close to the logo right now. So if you got your left margin, you might even place it, I don't know, maybe right over here. Think about it. Try some different placement. See what you think. You might try it right in the left margin. See what you think. Right now, it's too close to the logo, and quite typically, style guides indicate that elements should not be placed. Logos need assured clear distance. So typically, in a style guide, there are rules and regulations as to how close you can place things to a logo, and this would probably violate any such style guide requirements. Okay, and I'm just saying that because it's okay if you want to leave it there, but I'm just saying just so you can get used to understanding what you might expect to see in a style guide as you move through your design career. Okay, where the heck am I? Here I am right here. Yep, there we are, Jennifer. All right, fantastic. Great start. I love this campaign. I really do. I think it's fantastic. Loving it. Just loving it. All right, questions, comments, concerns, clarifications, just let me know. I'll be glad to make anything in that regard. But let's go ahead and make those adjustments and have those ready for next week. I mean, this campaign is due next week during week 7, but I'd kind of like to see this before then. So if you want to show it to me sometime before then, have at it. One thing I just noticed, I think that your type is a little too large. I think we can finesse this type. I just noticed it here. This headline subhead, watch my cursor. Let's see if we can reduce that. Something like this. You might be a little too close to. I want to pull that left margin in a little bit. So watch my cursor. Headline subhead, something like that. Okay, headline subhead, something like that. Okay, just to reduce the size a little bit. All right, fantastic, great job. Let me know if you have any questions at all. And let me see if I can figure out where I'm at and how to get out of here. All right, I got it. All right, thank you very much, Jennifer. Great job.